Hi Kamya, thank you. Thank you for your amazing talk today. We really enjoyed and got super motivated. A whole lot of us felt like we've got too much to do and too less time. We're very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
So my first question to you is, talk to me about your own personal journey of resilience, responsibility, and how has mountaineering shaped that for you?
I think for me, the mountains have probably been my biggest teachers in every aspect, but I think the most important thing I've learned is resilience, because every single climb, no matter how much you prepare, how experienced you are, all of those things aside, you do reach a point on every climb where physically you're at your extreme. And when you're at that threshold, it is the resilience that pushes you to just put that next foot forward and keep walking. So I think in that way, it has really shaped me into the resilient person that I am today. I don't think I would have the mental strength that I do now if not for mountaineering and the expeditions that I've done. And it also teaches you a lot of responsibility, because when you're part of a team, you're not just responsible for yourself on the mountain. You're responsible for every single person on your rope. If someone slips, you're going to be the one anchoring them, and that's the kind of understanding that you have with your teammates as well. You trust each other with your life. So that's the kind of responsibility that you carry, not only for yourself, but for others. So I think in that way, it's definitely taught me a lot of resilience, a lot of responsibility, and a lot of planning as well.
Amazing. I'm kind of inspired. Thank you for sharing. I think what I want to talk to you about next is, how did the whole sustainability angle of you championing sustainability as a young leader, how did that come about?
I think it is almost impossible to have stepped foot into the mountains, to have the mountains be such a big part of your life and then not champion for sustainability, because we've seen our planet in its most raw form in the mountains. It's in its most pure form. And we've also seen the degradation of that environment over the last couple of years. I've only been climbing for a decade. I'm not even old enough to have seen the large-scale degradation that has happened. But what I've seen in the last couple of years itself has been so bad. And I think that kind of just innately tells you that you need to be championing for sustainability. Every mountaineer out there, I think, is someone who is against the littering in the mountains, is against the overcrowding in the mountains. It's something that does innately happen, and I think it's something that we need to talk about as well, because the mountains are probably one of the last few places left untouched to a large extent on our planet. And if those spaces are starting to get as polluted and as littered as we see them today, that also tells us a lot about the magnitude of degradation that's already happened in the rest of the planet. So I think that is something that really motivated me to speak out about sustainability, to speak out about protecting our environment.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. So I think the last one that I'll share with you would be, the last one that I want to ask you would be, talk to me about Brand India, how you or athletes like you can make a huge difference or bring about a change that you seek and hope for the mountaineering community and for the larger world. Talk to me about, how do you see that being represented at a global stage for India?
I think as a mountaineer, I've definitely seen the idea about Indian mountaineers changing quite a bit. I'm glad to have maybe been a small part of that. I was on an expedition to the highest peak in North America, and there are only 7 companies that are allowed to run guided expeditions on that mountain. And we wrote to them continuously for 2 years throughout COVID, but none of them were ready to take me on, partly because I was a young girl, but also partly because I was an Indian climber. And they had certain biases against Indian climbers, which to me was very strange, because we have the majority of the Himalayas in our backyard. They are our mountains. But I think we went on the expedition unguided, and Denali is one of the toughest of the 7 summits. A lot of climbers say it's even tougher than Everest.
Right.
It's physically a very demanding mountain, and 4 of us went without a guide, 4 Indian climbers, and all of us made it to the summit. And I think the one thing that really stood out to me was after our summit, when we got back to Camp 4, there were a few guides from the other companies who came in and said, I wish our company would have taken you on as a climber, because then the record that you just made would have been in our name.
Right.
And I think just going out there and breaking those biases is the only way to change the narrative that has come about Indian athletes, Indian climbers, or just Indian people in general. And I think the only way we can break those stereotypes is to go out there and show what we truly stand for and what we can truly achieve.
Awesome. I think we should be done, but I'll ask you one last thing. Talk to me about the opportunity you see. Okay, imagine yourself maybe 10 years, 20 years from now. What's the kind of transition from a sustainability perspective as an athlete that you would want to see?
I think in the mountains, one thing I would definitely want to see is less crowding and more regulation, because right now in a lot of the mountains, there are no restrictions on who can come and climb, which is detrimental primarily even from a safety point of view. There are no minimum requirements to be able to climb Everest from the south side until last year. So, the basic requirements need to be put in place so that climbers with the right caliber and the right outlook are the ones who are actually on the mountain. And I think that in turn will also lead to sustainability, in the sense that these are climbers who have experience, who've been in the mountains for a while, so they know how to conduct themselves in the mountains. And also it reduces the human footfall on the mountain. So it reduces the carbon footprint that we leave on the mountains as well. So I think a lot more regulation, and also creating a culture amongst the hiking and mountaineering community, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who are on ground and responsible for the ground level litter that we see, the garbage that we leave on the mountains. So I think creating a culture within the community to be responsible for the waste that you're leaving behind on the mountain, and to bring back as much as you can, and if possible, everything that you've taken up on the mountain.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
to Prana 2025. We're very proud of you, and we hope you have a brilliant expedition, the next one.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, thank you. Thanks
Thank you so much for the
Take care.
opportunity.
Awesome.